What do I do with my TSP after leaving the military? This is a question I get often from clients, prospects, friends, and people just want to know, hey, after I get out of the military, what do I do with this thing? I got this TSP. It was kind of on autopilot. It was easy. I've heard good things about it. I've heard bad things about it. Some people have a favorable opinion, some don't. What should I do with this thing? So I just want to walk through today. What are the three broad categories of things that we can do with our TSP? Those being keep it where it is, roll it out to an IRA or an employer-sponsored plan, or take a distribution or purchase an annuity. That's that third category. So first, keeping it in the TSP, leaving it there. This is the easy button. It's just inertia. We just keep it where it is, where it has been, maybe invested in the funds that it's been in. This is going to be the easy option. Pros of this: it's easy, not a lot of action required. The TSP funds, average 0.038 to 0.05% per year in expense ratios. They're very low cost. They're industry leading in terms of their costs. It allows you the ability to conduct potentially backdoor Roth IRA contributions if you have traditional pre-tax money inside of your TSP. If we roll that to an IRA, it's going to cause issues with the IRS aggregation rule of being able to convert non-deductible traditional IRA contribution to Roth, which is the backdoor Roth IRA strategy. It's going to complicate all of that. So leaving that money in the TSP allows you to execute that if you get out and go start making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 working for a civilian company like many successful veterans do. Some downsides of keeping your money inside of that TSP: you do have a lack of investment options. We got 5 funds. We got some life cycle funds. Depending on your investment strategy, your investment beliefs, that may or may not be suitable for you and your family. Another downside is that it's just another place to have to log into. A lot of people manage their investments at Fidelity, Schwab, wherever it may be, with their IRAs, taxable brokerage accounts, individual stocks, whatever it may be. Having another login to manage at TSP, especially when we start getting later to those distribution years where we're withdrawing on our assets, it does make it a little bit more cumbersome to manage if we got money in multiple places. So that could be another downside of leaving your money inside of the TSP. So the second strategy we can take is rolling that TSP to an IRA, individual retirement account, or another employer-sponsored plan. So let's talk about the IRA first. The advantage of this: hey, we can have all things aggregated again in one spot, not so many logins. We have the world of investment options at our fingertips. We can invest in whatever we want. Might make it easier to manage our portfolio in conjunction with maybe other retirement assets that are at that institution, or maybe taxable brokerage account assets. Again, we can probably more collectively construct a good portfolio at that one institution instead of having TSP over here invested in funds and Roth IRA, taxable brokerage here invested in funds. It can be a little bit maybe more coordinated. The downsides of rolling it to your TSP include the lack of an ability to take a loan from an account like you could like an employer-sponsored retirement plan. I'll talk about that next. Then also the big one is for those high income earners and we have traditional TSP money, rolling that, let's say we have $100,000, rolling that to an IRA is going to affect our ability to now do backdoor Roth IRA contributions. So that's where we'd maybe think about keeping it or maybe rolling it to a employer-sponsored plan at our new company. The other option is to roll to an employer-sponsored plan like a 401k at your new job if your plan allows that at the new job. The advantages come down to the consolidation of your assets, but as well as the ability to conduct those backdoor Roth IRA contributions. So now we get a little bit of consolidation advantage, not having TSP, new 401k, and IRAs and all that. We now have gone down to 2 institutions and still maintain the ability to do those backdoor Roth IRAs. The downside of your new 401k plan, it could be much higher fees than the TSP. Your investment options could be limited. Expense ratios could be much higher, just totally dependent on the plan that you work for, the company that you work for, what benefits they offer, whoever they run their 401k through. I'll also add one last thing to consider. If you're going to roll your TSP out, potentially if you want access to it in the future to be able to roll money back into it, you have to leave at least a $200 balance inside of that TSP to keep that account active and open. This might be if you want that account. Maybe someday you think the G fund might be good to have access to, a fund that is a little bit unique in the fact that it's guaranteed. There's not a lot of funds like that out there. Maybe you want to keep $200 there, potentially roll money back in someday. That's totally up to you. That's not a recommendation, just a thought there when you are rolling money out to think about. Okay, so the last broad category is going to be some sort of distribution or purchase. So taking a lump sum distribution, let's talk about that for a second. Obviously not advisable for those that are in their working years. We want to leave money compounding. We don't want to interrupt that compounding unnecessarily early. But, life happens. I understand some people just cashing out the TSP might make sense. I don't know. That's dependent on your financial situation. If you're 59 and a half, right, we can withdraw the full sum. That's past that penalty period where we're now, in those retirement years where the IRS lets us take these retirement assets out. If we do take a distribution before 59 and a half, there's going to be a 10% penalty. There's all kinds of exceptions to this rule. I won't go through those today, but there are certain exceptions that we could potentially withdraw early. Okay, purchasing an annuity with your TSP would kind of be that last option of like, hey, let's do something with it other than leave it or roll it or take a distribution. This would be for someone who doesn't really want to manage, a portfolio and take withdrawals over time. They want to transfer that risk to the insurance company of, hey, I want to purchase something that's going to pay me forever. I think the downside risk of that, annuities are really insurance contracts, so they're definitely going to be more expensive than just having a portfolio or hiring an advisor to manage a portfolio. They'll probably deliver lower average returns than a normal portfolio over really long periods of time. So I would just be careful about knowing what you're getting into. Also, if you have any goals to leave a legacy to the next generation, if you purchase an annuity and you die 2 years into the annuity, that's kind of how the insurance company is able to pay those people out that do live like 10, 20 years past when they're supposed to. So again, this is a transfer of risk to the insurance company. If we do outlive our life expectancy, they're going to pay us. But if we come up short, they're definitely not going to pay out our heirs. So just something to think about. Again, maybe transferring portions of your portfolio to insurance companies for you. It's just certainly an option for those who are deciding what to do with their TSP. Okay, so in conclusion, the decision about what to do with your TSP is really up to you. It's your personal circumstances. Do you like the TSP? Do you understand it? Do you have no problems with it? You don't mind having a couple logins? You like the funds? You don't mind having limited investment selection? Well, maybe keeping it there is for you. That's the easy button. It's inertia. You can just keep it there. Keep it a life cycle fund, whatever it is, don't touch it. Downside is we're going to have limited investment options. We're going to have multiple logins. It may or may not be for you. Totally up to you. For those that are willing to take it out and put it in an IRA, we're going to have way more investment options. We are going to have more things aggregated at probably one institution. It's going to be probably easier for us to manage and monitor. Downside is we need to look out for making sure that we can still do backdoor Roth IRA contributions if we are a high income earner. So we don't want to limit our ability to do that. Again, that's where we maybe consider, depending on if you got a civilian job, does it make sense to roll that to your 401k at your new job? If they allow that, what are the fees in that account? What fund options do we have? What are the investment options? How does that compare to the world of investment options we have in our IRA or the investment options that we have at our TSP? So lastly, for anyone rolling the TSP out, remember we can keep $200 balance in there if we do want access to that later on. And then ultimately we can take a distribution or buy an annuity potentially, depending on what age we are. And if we do want to do something with that money instead of just keeping it or rolling it. I hope this was useful. Let me know if you have any questions and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Thank you for joining us today. Do you want the exact financial planning framework that I use with clients? Go visit baskinfp.com where you can grab a free download of the ultimate military and veteran financial checklist to give you the bluff on what you need to be doing to manage your finances. We'll be back next week with some more content to help you on your journey to financial freedom. See you then. This is a friendly reminder that the Bluff Finance Podcast is general and educational in nature and does not constitute tax, investment, legal, or financial advice with respect to any particular individual or taxpayer. Please consult with your own tax, legal, financial, and other advisors regarding your own unique situation.